I'm ready. What up? Let's get to it. So more great news, man, for Minnesota Vikings territory, whatever you may call it. Some more UDFAs, another UDFA stepping up, man. Potentially could make noise. Potentially could make noise. Yeah, heavy for that number 3 wide receiver spot. For that number 3 wide receiver spot. You hear me? Jeshaun Jones out of Maryland. Now, I'm sure some of you may have heard the name. If you have, let me know what you think about him. Fire them comments up. But I didn't know about him. You hear me? But look, Jeshaun Jones out of Maryland, homie. Could be trying to, could be the next guy up, man. He could come in and solidify that wide receiver 3 position. Now, no disrespect to Brandon Powell and Jalen Naylor, correct? But that spot is not solidified, you know. No receiver can truly say, as far as those two, he's the number 3, true 3. Jalen Naylor, he ain't even on the field, dog. He ain't even available. You hear me? So Jeshaun Jones, first off, a UDFA, but guess what? A highly paid UDFA. You hear me? A highly paid UDFA got a nice piece of change. Homie. So kind of like Ivan Pace, some other UDFAs last season. The Vikings obviously believe in him, similar to Gabriel Murphy, you know, Gabriel Murphy, edge rusher out of UCLA. I heard they paid him well. I heard they paid him well too, et cetera, et cetera. So Jeshaun Jones, if he comes in and eats heavy and takes that spot from Powell or Naylor or shit, even competes with Jordan Addison, no, I'm not saying he will take Addison's spot, homie. Respect to Swaggy. Respect to Swaggy. You hear me? All I'm saying is it could be a real competitive room. You hear me? Now, let's not forget about Malik Knowles up in there. Yeah, Malik Knowles up in there. Receiver out of Kansas State, UDFA from last season. I feel like he can make some noise. You hear me? Saw that boy go up against Alabama, put up solid numbers, had a solid game until he got hurt. You hear me? Hands down, man's down. Duh. So let's not just think that that wide receiver 3 is automatic. Now, I know a lot of fans love Powell. A lot of fans still want to see what Naylor can do, including me. You hear me? I think Jalen Naylor could be a solidified 3, maybe even 2, dog. I think they have talent in that receiver room, but can the guy stay healthy? You hear me? Can the talent stay healthy? You hear me? If not, get up out of here. Yeah, get up out of here. Similar to Marcus Davenport, that big goofy clown. Thing about him, he didn't want to put in no work. Homie. When he got on the field, he made some noise here and there. Was it enough to keep him around? Keep his big soft ass around for what? He didn't want to be here for real. Look at his attitude. You seen his attitude, homie. You seen who he was as a person. You hear me? He definitely was just about him. He definitely didn't care about the team. So we know what's up, man. B-Dog. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a real battle. I'm really interested in this Jeshaun Jones, homie. Matter of fact, let's get more into it. Give me 1 second, man. Let's get more into Jeshaun Jones out of Maryland. I think some of my big dogs mentioned him before. You hear me? Yeah, I think so. You hear me? Let's just read about this dude real quick, man. You know, I ain't gonna lie or cap. I ain't know about him, man. Yeah. Let's get into it, huh? Well-paid UDFA receiver looking to fill open spot in Vikings wide receiver competition. Wow. Recently, Dustin Baker discussed a couple of the well-paid UDFA players in a piece for the Vikings territory. The talented edge rusher Gabriel Murphy gets a lot of the focus, but then the conversation shifts over to a more overlooked name, Jeshaun Jones. Over the cap, the pass catcher is operating under a 3-year, $2.84 million deal. Pretty standard stuff for a UDFA contract. Okay. What's notable is simply that he's bringing in a whopping $235,000 in guaranteed money, a large amount for someone in his position as an undrafted player. Does Jones get onto the final team? Right there, that tells you. Like I said, He's getting big guapino. He's getting big guapino for UDFA, especially for UDFA, especially. You dig me? You get my drift? So you can't ignore that fact. You cannot ignore that fact. You hear me? So the Vikings see something. The Vikings see something. Now, will he make the roster spot? Will he ball? Will he contribute? That's to him, dog. That's on him. But obviously, he seemed beneficial to the Vikings. They gave him a solid deal. They gave him a solid deal. You hear me? Let's get into it more, man. Well-paid UDFA receiver Jeshaun Jones and the Vikings receiver need. Look around and it won't be tough to find some online discussion about what the Vikings are going to do at wide receiver 3. Has there been as much chatter about the wide receiver 4 and 5 spots? The Vikings have a ton of receiver options on their roster. In fact, it's one of their deepest positions, boasting a whopping 12 players. In Kill Harry just switched positions. There's a mix of younger and older talent, star players and unproven guys looking to get their NFL careers off the ground. Within that broad array of options is Jones. Yeah, man, like I say, I'm not surprised. There's talent there. Can the talent stay healthy? You hear me? Jalen Naylor, we know he's talented. He's flashed numerous times, but he can't stay healthy, dog. We know what Brandon Powell brings to the table, but are you telling me if Naylor is healthy, Malik Knowles is healthy, if this guy Jeshaun Jones balls out, are you telling me Brandon Powell is going to stay at that number 3 spot? No, dog. No, dog. I could see him getting downgraded heavy. No disrespect to Powell, but the best man must play. The best man must play, homie. You feel me? That's just what it is. Facts, dog. No disrespect once again. You know, I rock with Powell. Love his attitude. Love his heart, homie. But at the end of the day, put the best man on the field, dog. But let's get more into it. Jeshaun Jones played his college ball with the Maryland Terrapins. Shout out Maryland, be more. Putting in work there from 2018 to 2023. PFF was the most impressed by his 23 season, tossing over a very respectable 74.9 grade for his effort. So he must be a solid player. The more traditional stats are intriguing. Jones turned 56 catches, not bad, into 790 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. He must be a speedy weapon. He must be explosive, and he must be a weapon. 56 catches, 790 yards, a lot of yards after catch, a lot of yards after catch, I guarantee. Maybe the most promising, or a lot of deep balls down the field as well, a lot of long streaks down the field as well. You hear me? Maybe the most promising detail buried with those stats is the 14.1 yards per reception average. Okay, so a lot of deep balls as well. At 6'1", kind of small, 188 pounds, Jones has some good size and some history of being explosive. Can that translate over to the NFL? Well, we got to see. That's a question you ask every player, right? Will it translate? No, he's 6'1", he's kind of small, but like I say, if he's explosive and he got speed, that don't matter, homie. Look at Tyreek Hill. You hear me? Look at Tyreek Hill. That's all I got to say. You hear me? For whatever it's worth, Jones picked up 20 carries across college career, turning those rushing attempts into 188 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Versatile. Okay, might be tough. Might be a tough SOB. Again, think efficiency and explosiveness. Those carries had an average of 9.4 yards, but keep in mind that the vast majority of that work arrived in the 2018 season. So we know what it is. We can go tit for tat. Which season was better for him? What season was his best season? It don't matter, dog. Period, bottom line. You hear me? What he gonna do now, homie? What he gonna do now, dog? Do the Vikings look at Jones and see a player who could slot into the wide receiver 5 job as a bit of a gadget player? We'll see, dog. You know, at the end of the day, I read enough. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is, dog. We will see. That's always the story. Time will tell, right? But the fact he's explosive, nice speed, they're talking about receiver 4 and 5. Well, I'm saying the 3 is up for battle, dog. I'm saying nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. Similar to the cornerback position. Ain't nobody safe, dog, and nobody shouldn't be safe. You hear me? You hear me? No one has performed at a high enough level to be safe besides Jettas and, say, Addison, dog. But that number 3, you hear me? That's wide open. Wide open, hands down, man down, dog. 1,000 out the gate, off the rip. You hear me? Ain't no way you telling me Brandon Powell has that position, that 3 spot on lockdown, dog. And like I say, if he's explosive as they say he is. The Vikings paid him that much guapino. They obviously see something in him. Oh, man, he can compete for a higher spot. You hear me? Than just a 4 or 5. He can compete for that 3, dog. I guarantee that 3 position receiver is wide open. Is wide ass open, homie. Ah, man, I'll stand on that 10 toes down, dog. You hear me? 10 toes down. Heavy. Big skull here, bro. You can't tell me the Vikings paid this UDFA that much guapino, unrealistic amount. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? To bring him in and say, hey, cool. We just want you to compete for, let's say, the 4 spot or the 5 spot. Can you do that for us, Jones? Can you do that for us, Jeshaun Jones, buddy? Hell to the no, homie. They want him to come in and play. You hear me? Hey, they don't care about who taking positions, whether he take that 3 spot or compete with Addy for that 2 spot. Hell, even if he compete with Jettas. Now, I ain't saying he's going to do all that, but I'm just saying you never know. And at the end of the day, the Vikings ain't bringing in players just to be average. Who cares? So what? They're a UDFA, homie. If that's the case, they would have set pace down. Yeah, they would have set pace down, homie. You hear me? They wouldn't have believed in pace, gave him the green dot, huh? If they just wanted him to be a backup, homie, they want him to play. They want him to play. You hear me? Trying to bring in scrubs, homie. Huh? They want ballers, dog. So yes, Jeshaun Jones has an opportunity to be to battle for that 3 spot, dog. I believe. Heavy. Not only him, Malik knows, etc. Homie, you hear me? If these guys can stay healthy, Jalen Naylor, we know what it is, man. Yes, they can compete. It's going to be a real competition. I don't care what nobody else talking about. It's going to be a real competition. You hear me? Period. Bottom line. Look at the roster. A lot at stake, homie. Dudes better start showing up. Better start showing up and being available. Better start showing up and being available. You hear me? Nobody's safe, dog. That's my opinion, man. How you feel about it? How you feel about Jeshaun Jones? How you feel about the Vikings receiving core? Let me know, homie. Fire them comments up. Feedback is much appreciated. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Make sure you hit that bell. You hear me? So you know when I'm on and rock and rolling. SKOL Vikes forever. Win, lose, or draw, man. Heavy. Yeah.